headphones, and then, if possible, a mouse. I know Nella and Cindy and the team at St. Isidore have really expressed to me that it allows students to move a little bit quicker using the Chromebook and just a little bit more efficiently if they do have a mouse. If you're having trouble locating them, just send me an email. I know that there's some at the warehouse in IMC, and maybe I can get some out to you. We're looking for proximal supervision. And so when we say proximal supervision, we are asking for someone, so an adult of some sort. So schools use EAs, schools use diverse learning teachers that are working on another project at the time or working with another group at the time, to be in the room with students. And in those first few weeks, we're looking for a little bit more than proximal supervision, just as students adjust to that online learning environment. We're looking for students to have someone there when they don't know where to go next in the Google Classroom or they can't click something. Nella and Cindy, you do a wonderful job of this, but I know this is a little bit of a support piece that we're requesting. And then you can release that supervision just for it to be someone in the room with students as they move forward. We're looking for Google Classroom and Meets, or the Pear Deck that the students are working on, or the boom cards that the students are working on, to be the only tabs that students have open. And I think we've all seen students that are quite nifty with computers these days, having a whole sidebar of games. So we're just looking for that proximal supervision to be monitoring that piece as well. There's a digital safety component to that, and we want to make sure that students are engaged in the classroom. Some online meeting etiquette. We ask for students to have their cameras on. We ask for students to be patient and raise their hands when they're wanting to speak, waiting patiently for their turn to speak. We're asking for students generally to have their microphone muted until it is their turn to speak. And so having students practice turning on and off their microphone in those first few weeks, and when to do so, is important. And then avoid eating during class time. We shouldn't have food and drinks really near Chromebooks anyways, but it's not the most polite to be eating right on camera. When we're looking at the programming of the ELD satellite program, it is intended for newcomers, students that we consider newcomers right now to be kind of students that have arrived within 2 years to Canada. And a piece of that is the cultural component to the English language development course. So our ELD teachers take time to plan activities and themes and units around ideas that are unique to Canadian culture. And so this way we are kind of exposing students to some of these ideas that many students that are native, born from Canada, would have already had a lot of exposure to throughout their education. Some ideas of that are exploring Canadian culture and customs when it comes to holidays. We're looking at Canadian heroes and all of the things that we explore when it's a Remembrance Day, Terry Fox, things like this. So when we look at that 2 years of being in Canada within 2 years, if they've been here longer, some of those topics might not be developmentally appropriate for them at that point. We're looking for students that are benchmarked on a level 1 or 2 on our benchmarks. So that means that those students are really emerging English speakers. And we're not looking for students that are benchmark 2 and the only thing that's holding them back is writing. So we're looking for students that really are looking to build those speaking and listening skills and that communicative competence. It's not really intended for students with additional diverse learning codes or needs. If you're querying, a student might have something else going on other than that language component, then maybe we can work with you to explore those in a different program or different means within your school team. But this program really is designed for students to build that communicative competence in the English language realm. This year, we have the wonderful addition of the 7 to 9 programming, and that is such a blessing for so many schools. But we also serve grade 4 to 6 students. Generally, these two divisions are underserved with sheltered language programming. So in our high schools, we have specific courses that have sheltered instruction for language. And in Division 1, they generally are very language-rich classrooms where many students are learning language. All students really are learning English language. But we've seen there's actually research that has been done on the ELD program within our district, and our grades 4 to 6 and 7 to 9 are generally underserved for sheltered language and programming. Generally, we target schools that have a limited number of students with a level 1 or 2 proficiency, or have a large number of students that they would not be able to serve with the DL or the support or staff that they have. And so that's how I've come to meet many of you or offer you guys some placements in these ELD programs. We kind of take into consideration the number of students that you have, the DL time that you have, and all of that. I think we all know the benefits and the beauty behind the ELD program, but just some of the research that supports that language programming is the goal is for students to acquire English proficiency in a content area and to build their background knowledge so that they can move into their grade level courses and find success. We've seen a gap in sheltered English instruction for students grades 4 to 9. We're looking for students to acquire BICS, which is that basic interpersonal communication skills, through their daily interaction, but we find students struggle with that cognitive academic language. And so the ELD program allows for students to build that BICS in a really safe community space, but also explore some of the things that would tip them over to be that level 3, where students are starting to interact with that cognitive academic language proficiency. So you may wonder what some of the outcomes or content of an ELD program is. And the outcomes from a locally, or for our junior high students, the outcomes are from a locally developed course called English Language Development for level 1 and 2 students. And for Division 2 students, our ELD teachers use the benchmarks kind of as their curriculum or language outcome guide. They pair these outcomes with these big ideas or themes so that they can build that communicative competence. Listening and speaking is really at the heart of everything that our ELD teachers do. But with that, they do build in some reading and writing skills to target those, to target all 4 strands of the benchmark. Language outcomes are taught through big ideas, and then they're paired with a provocation or a question. You can see some images here of students in that digital or online classroom. I know that routines are a really strong piece of this ELD component. I know Nella shared with me some of the routines that she does with her class where every day they can come in and expect to work on the same routine. New this year, so if you were a participant in the ELD program last year, I just wanted to share a little bit of some of the progress monitoring that we're looking to do this year with students so that we can just be the most efficient with who we're offering programming to and so on. So in September, you may have been contacted by myself, and you know that with the new registration process, we were welcoming in students and kind of assessing them until a little bit about mid-September. And then you you would have been contacted by myself if we could offer you a spot in our ELD program. And so students would have began attending daily, and parents and guardians would have been informed of programming. In December, we're looking to set up meetings between the homeschool and St. Isidore as the supporting school. And so what we're looking to do is to discuss the progress in relation to the language outcomes for each student. We want to discuss what the student's next steps are and whether the student is ready to be moved out of the ELD program and moved into those content area classes more frequently, or if they need to continue on in the ELD program. early January, what this would look like for you is Division 2 ELD teachers will place a comment in the listening and speaking strand, listening or speaking strand, I should say, of each student's EAL benchmark. And this comment will share success of what the student has been working on in ELD. And I know in the past, I know the Division 2 team has worked really hard at making those comments very similar to that of a progress report comment. So when parents are coming in and you're reviewing benchmarks or you're reviewing students' academic success in relation to their progress report, you have something to share as to what the student has been working on in ELD. In Division 3, the ELD teacher will report on the student's achievement of the LDC outcomes on the January progress report. So the students in Division 3 will receive a progress report mark by their given by their ELD teacher. And that progress report mark is reporting on the locally developed course outcomes. In March, we're looking to set up another set of homeschool and St. Isidore supporting school meetings so that we can discuss students' progress and see who is ready to be moved out or who is ready to kind of continue on in the program. And then the June reporting period will look very similar. So just to be clear, our ELD teachers are not solely responsible for benchmarks. Benchmarks are the responsibility of the homeschool. Our ELD teachers will contribute to benchmarks if need be during those homeschool and supporting school meetings. So if we're moving a student out of ELD or out of ELD satellite and the supporting teacher or ELD teacher feels like they have something to contribute to the listening or speaking strand or the reading and writing strand, then that would be appropriate. But as these students really are only working with these teachers for 45 minutes a day, they might be seeing things a little bit differently on the benchmarks because it is such a safe, sheltered environment than, say, content area teachers would. So we want to make sure that the benchmarks are a collaborative effort, not so much the sole responsibility of any teacher. And lastly, I just wanted to bring to your attention, especially for those of you that have students in Division 3 ELD. You might be wondering, well, how are they going to get a mark on their progress report? And so I will share with you this knowledge article that was produced by our Power School gurus downtown. And so what it is your secretaries will enroll the students into this course here that's listed on the screen, ESL Beginner ELD Level 1 and 2, 789. And so students will, and Cindy Davis will be the co-instructor on that through St. Isidore School. That way she'll be able to put in a progress report mark for students. So you can share this knowledge article with your administrative team, who will share it with your secretaries. And that way they can start to enroll students. I mean, we're asking for this to be done, say, within the month of October, because I think Cindy would like to start updating some marks eventually. So if you're having any problems with this, just give me a call. Or I can direct you to put in an ask ticket as well. But this has been set up so that students are able, or Cindy is able to produce a mark for students' progress reports. I hope I've covered everything. And Nella and Cindy, if you have anything to add in, you're more than welcome to, please. But I've kind of just given you an overview of what the programming and assessment will look like in ELD this year. But if you have any questions, please unmute yourself, join the chat. Lily, I see your question. Should we enroll Division 3 students in the Power School ELD course if we are teaching it in our school? So if you are teaching Division 3 ELD in your school and you have students in Division 2 ELD satellite, I can definitely come out and work with you to get a locally developed course set up in your Power School for that's separate from this. But this one is connected to St. Isidore's school. Oh, my Teams shut out. Sorry. This one is connected to St. Isidore's School, so don't do it with this way. But Lily, I'll put you on my list and I'll get in contact with you how we can get that set up for you. And then I can work with you to set up your D2L grade book in a way that would reflect the outcomes best. And Crystal, I see that you have your hand up.
Hi, Aurelia. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, thanks for all this information. I just have a question. We have one of our EAs joining our ELD group, and she was wondering if it was possible for her to be added to the Google Classroom just so she could hear what's happening and just help to guide the students along a little better.
Nella and Cindy, I think that is a common request, right? Is that Crystal, what division? Div 3 or 2?
Div 2.
Div 2, yeah. And do you know, I'll check what class they're in, and then yeah, if you want to send me her name, I can get that over to Nella and Laurie and Cindy.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah, anybody, like any CTs or DLTs or assistants that want to be added, even send us an email and we can add them, no problem. It's really pretty easy.
Yeah. Thanks, Cindy. Well, I really appreciate you all taking the time out of your early morning to sit with us. I am going to stop the recording and stop the sharing. I will send it out later today, most likely. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to be with us. If you have any questions, we are always available to chat, and I'll send this out afterwards. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Aurelia, and everybody else who joined us. This was great. And yeah, you covered everything. It was excellent. Seriously, I have nothing to add.
Thanks.
Great job.
Thanks, everybody.
Take care.
Take care.
Have a good day. Bye. You
Bye.
too. Bye-bye.
Aurelia, I have a quick question.
Hey, Jenna, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good, yeah.
Oh, it's really glary.
Oh, no, you're okay. Don't worry.
I didn't want to bother kind of everyone with this one, but I have one little guy, Jackie. He did the program last year and he is he's not engaged. And our EA was saying that it's really hard to get him to, you know, to say anything or to kind of participate. So like, should I stick with it with him? Should I pull him out?
Yeah. Is he Div 2 or 3?
He's
2.
in grade 5.
He would have done it
2.
last year.
Yeah.
So yeah. What is his? I'd have to look. I want to look at his benchmarks. Like, when did he arrive? Do you know?
I actually don't have all this information right now.
No, that's okay. Do you have his name? Let me take a look today, and then maybe I could give you a call later.
Okay, let me see. Yeah, and then while I'm looking him up, our junior high gang is struggling to, because your times don't match up with ours, which I'm sure is everybody's problem. And it's not a problem, but everyone's situation.
Yeah.
So I don't, like, the teachers are kind of concerned that they're missing, especially science. One of the girls, well, the kids are missing, you know, parts of science every day. So I don't know how, like, if it's going to be able to, they're going to be able to continue.
So I guess that would be a conversation for your admin too, because I don't want to, I guess our idea is that the students are really not receiving marks. They're not being assessed on the program of studies in science, right? So, but they are being assessed on their benchmarks. And so we want to give students the opportunity to have the most success. And so in science, they're not getting direct language instruction, right?
No.
Although it might be inconvenient to say, oh, like, you missed last class and now I got to catch you up on, but they don't necessarily need to be caught up on that, right? Unless the students really are moving towards like that level 3 piece where they're starting to understand it a little bit more, I guess I would worry that we would be taking away an opportunity for language instruction from students where that would be the priority for students.
Totally agree.
At that time.
Yeah.
And I can chat with that teacher, but I would want to chat with your admin, like maybe you chat it through with your admin before we take those students out. What do you think?
Okay. Yeah, and the science teacher she was just concerned. She's like, well, they're missing like 3 out of 4 science or parts of 3 out of 4 science classes. How do I mark them?
Yeah.
Like, how do I assess them, I guess, is more the better word.
And we can I work with her on assessment piece there too. Like for those kiddos, an assignment in science might be filling out just like a vocabulary personal dictionary, right? Like my hope would be that those students wouldn't be taking a test or that would look similar to the other students.
Right. And I think actually at least 2 of the girls in junior high, they're working towards the end of 2 and probably early 3, level 3.
Okay, so then that's a different situation for those kiddos. Maybe
that will be my guess. Like the teachers are still kind of evaluating where they are exactly. Right, to see what they can do. But okay, if I see that they're moving kind of towards really much closer to that kind of 3 end, then maybe you and I will have a conversation.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah. Okay. And I know it is a difficult thing to have students in your class for one period out of the 5 days. Like I totally understand that piece of it. And if I could give her some supporting ideas for the students that will stay in the program, like what can they do in your classroom when they have missed 3 out of the 5 instructional time slots, that would be really like consistent and make it easy for them to just kind of do independently. I could work with your teacher on that.
Oh my gosh, you're amazing.
I'd be happy to.
Okay.
Yeah, just so that, because I totally get it. I've taught junior high, and like when the students are pulled 4 out of the 5 blocks, you're like, I hardly know them now, But I totally get it. I just want to make sure that we're giving them every opportunity we can.
Okay, yeah, for sure. I'll connect the science teacher and you on email, and we'll work on it.
That's perfect.
Okay, amazing.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Thank you.
And then send me that Div 2 kid's name. Let me look a little bit into him, and then if he's not engaged, and we'll have to move him out, but we'll see.
Yeah, I'll just find a better plan for him.
Yeah.
Awesome. Sorry.
Okay. No, you're all good.
I'm in recovery from one of the many colds going around these schools.
Oh, I know, it's so bad. Yeah. I know.
Anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, have a good morning.
Okay, see you.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Bye.